What are some things you'd only know by growing up poor? Pre-cut Christmas trees are free on Christmas Eve. I remember the Christmas tree hunt on Christmas Eve was like our little family tradition. We would drive around in the evening looking for stores that still had trees sitting out front. 9 times out of 10, when we would ask about the tree we were interested in, they would say just take it, glad to get rid of them by that point. Every year we had a perfectly beautiful tree, and it was exciting to find perfect trees for free, and then stay up late decorating it with homemade glitter pine cones and candy canes. If you send a bad check to the utilities company on a Friday, you have power for the weekend. Most gas station attendants will not stop a small child from stealing toilet paper from their bathrooms. Who knew? Edit. Thanks for the silver. This isn't something I had to do a lot, but it happened from time to time. My mom took excellent care of me. We just fell a bit short sometimes. Years ago when I was an attendant, if I knew or noticed someone having a hard time, I would put money in towards what they were getting, within reason. $10 in gas, but your card was declined? I got it. Need a drink, but you don't get paid till tomorrow? Don't worry, what's $2? The regulars were aware I'd help them out if need be, and they never took advantage. I'd often be paid back next time they come through on my shift, or if I was working alone they'd come in and sit with me. Hell, I was working alone one time, and this regular who I helped out a lot, his name was Ray. The gas station was off the highway out in BFE. He stayed till I got out of there at like 12:30 am and took the garbage out for me. I don't know about in other states, but in MN they can't shut your power off during the winter because of the danger of someone freezing to death in their house. So that was a good time to try to catch up on some other bills you are way behind on too. Government cheese. Doing your laundry in a bathtub using only cold water. BC the gas was shut off. Trying to spend the night at your friend's house. BC they had food and a warm room. Thanks Nikki. Loving going to school because you could at least eat there. Trips to Goodwill for new clothes. Showers at school because at least 3 water was warm. Being made fun of because you smelled like kerosene. Having lice and no one doing anything about it. Going to school with bruises. BC your parents took their crappy decisions out in you. I'm so grateful to a handful of people that saw potential in me. I went to college, got a great job, and broke the cycle. Thanks Tom and Tony. That sometimes your parents sacrifice everything they have, including their sanity just to see you happy. And you only learn later in life the soul-crushing existence of poverty. Then you wonder how they managed to do so much with so little. Pizza nights are the best birthday present you could ever freaking get. A whole pizza, ordered exactly how you like it, and you get to have more than one slice. Food stamp paper change. When I was a kid, if you used food stamps they would give back the change in food stamp form. My mom was too proud to publicly use them, so she would make up a reason to leave, and I would have to pay using them. I was 11 or so. She did it every time. I had to learn to keep my head up. My mother would send me into the store with $21 food stamps. I would stand at the register and get the 95 cents change for each 5-cent gum, one at a time. They figured out what I was doing and started laughing, but they let me do it. The shame was not nearly as bad as dealing with mama without her methadone. I was 11 too. On the bright side, nothing embarrasses me now. Not to ask their parents for stuff. I felt so guilty asking for clothes or other school needs. It also made me dread class art projects, especially in non-art classes. Yeah, it's only $20 worth of crafts, but that's money we need for real life. I had someone in college why I didn't ask my parents for something when I was broke and needed help. They were blown away when I said they were in the same situation. What hunger really is. I remember waiting for my dad's payday for the grocery shopping trip and being absolutely ravenous when the food got there. I don't remember which day of the week it was, but we'd go on the day that the most free samples were available. How to cook with the government surplus cheese. We got so much of that cheese. A few years ago I stopped in a Hostess bread store in a poor neighborhood. I was the only white guy in the store, and while waiting in line, other people started talking about the government cheese. And I said that my family got a lot of it, and we liked it. Everyone goes quiet and looked at me. Then someone says, we thought that was just for black folk. And I said, no, we got it too because it was for poor people. And then we all started talking about the cheese. I grew up pretty poor too. Single wide trailer in a swamp in the south. Lots of deer meat and beans. Since we couldn't afford the grocery store, we went without electricity and running water for a little bit because we couldn't afford the connections to the lines. Your example is one of the things that bothers me most about politics here in the US, but it happens in a similar fashion all over the world. Politicians convince poor black people that white people are completely against their success and convince poor whites that if the government continues programs for the poor, hordes of minorities will continue to abuse those programs, like Reagan's welfare queen narrative, but for some reason it's conveniently kept quiet that the edited largest number dollars in social welfare programs go to white children and white women. Poor whites vote to cut programs thinking they are not the ones abusing program, so they should be able to continue to get assistance, but now have a harder process to navigate the system as a result of the load of crap they were sold. I keep hoping one day that poor folks of all races will realize they all have more in common with each other than they have in common with the rich old guys in Washington making their lives harder. If that ever happens, true change could happen in this country. What it's like to be told you think you're just better than us because my mom valued education and prioritized it so we could do better for ourselves. Going into pawn shops to find the things your aunt stole from you and pawn to get drug money. Knowing which family members you had to hide medicine, your purses, and other valuables from when they would visit. The embarrassment of whipping out the Monopoly money food stamps. The taste of government peanut butter. What it's like to use the same bath water as your siblings because running a new tub of water is a waste. The excitement of a trip to the day-old bread store. The ubiquitousness of the concept of need vs want. What it's like to sit at the dinner table emptying piggy banks to help your mom pay bills. Holding your mom quietly the amazingly few times she'd break down crying at the end of the day. Knowing the cheapest thing on the menu at every restaurant for when your friend's family invites you out to dinner. Even though you're not paying, you're programmed to only select the cheapest thing. My friend's mom said you sure like hot dogs. That's all you order, no matter where we go to eat. I learned these things because I expected that they'd try to pay for me, and if I lost the no I'll pay for it battle, then at least I wouldn't be gouging them. I still hate letting others pay for me though. I feel like a mucha. Outdated technology. When I started college, one of my professors asked if anyone in our class remembered how you changed a channel on the TV before remote controls. I was the only person in the room who remembered turning dials and adjusting rabbit ears despite being one of the youngest students in the class because my family had a TV from the 70s until 1995. Same sort of thing with computers, phones, etc. If we had it at all, we got something much later than anyone else, after it got cheaper and bought used. I got my first computer in 1999. It had Windows 3.1 and that was what I used until I was able to use my financial aid to get a new PC tower for college. Mom could make a bag of potatoes last 2 weeks amongst 5 kids, her and my dad. Rice, butter, and sugar was a breakfast food. Biscuits lasted days, toasted butter and brown sugar for dinner etc. I truly had no idea until I was in my junior year of high school taking child development that Head Start was a program created for children from homes of low income. I simply thought it was a place for me to get a head start as a kid. I still remember my teacher saying verbatim, "No honey, your family was just poor," in front of the whole class. When someone breaks into your house but doesn't take anything. Happened once. Still think it's funny. Poignant. Thief realizes he's not as desperate as the people who live there. I saw a story once, still unsure if it was real or not, about someone who had only an old mattress and a sheet in their tiny apartment. Some people broke in and saw that there was nothing, then waiting for the owner to come home. They told the owner what they were gonna do, but then realized how little the guy had. According to the story, the criminals then, over a few weeks, gave the guy a TV, a bed, a fridge, and some other stuff. He never asked where they got the items from. You develop an appreciation for hand-me-down clothes when they come your way. So much joy going through garbage bags of hand-me-downs and trying stuff on. I remember being so excited getting like 4 to 5 bags of clothes from an older cousin, especially an older cousin you viewed as cool. Thank you so much for watching, and soobscrooble if you want.